car now!
I'm serving this country and this is how I'm treated?
Driver, roll the window down. Put your hands out the window. Turn the vehicle off. Put your hands out the window.
What's going on?
How many occupants are in your vehicle?
It's only myself. Why are your weapons drawn? What's going on?
Get out of the car now!
I'm serving this country and this is how I'm treated?
Yo, well, guess what? I'm a veteran too. I learned to obey. Get out of the car!
What's going on?
What's going on is you're fixing to ride the lightning, son.
I'm honestly afraid to get out. Can I
Yeah, you should
what's
be.
going on?
Get out. There's no need getting this on your record. I don't want it on your record. However, it's entirely up to you. If you want to fight it and argue, I mean, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, okay? I mean, you have that right as a citizen. If that's what you want, we'll charge you. It doesn't change my life one way or the way.
So, Doctor, what's the punchline with respect to that? What does it tell us?
The significance of all of that is it's a second reason why you know fentanyl is not causing the depression of his respiration. Major part of my work as a lung specialist is looking at people's breathing. You get an awful lot of information by looking at how they breathe, by looking at how they use their chest wall. All of this is extremely informative. And at the lowest level, one of the simplest things to do that is especially informative is simply to count how many breaths somebody takes in. It's one of the vital signs, like with blood pressure, pulse rate, temperature, is the respiratory rate. It's one of the signs that tells us, and it gives us a lot of clues as to what is happening inside the body.
Is this something you've done before?
I've done it millions of times.
And so you're counting the breaths. Do you observe the muscles and things also?
you separately from counting the breaths, you're going to look at the different muscles they're using, whether they're using their sternomastoid, what type of bucket handle action they have, what type of pump handle. You're looking at all of this in a glance. I mean, with somebody as old as me, I can see all of this very rapidly.
So did you take this clinical experience and apply it to your observations of Mr. Floyd's breathing, in this case on the videos?
Yes, I did.
Was there video evidence from which you could take measurements?
Yes, there is. So if you focus down here on where the handcuff is and where his arm is close to his black shirt is the best place to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So that was roughly a 17-second clip,
Right?
and you counted 7 or 8 breaths.
Between 7 and 8, yeah.
And did you use this to calculate a rate of respiration?
Yes, because I mean, it's simple. Once you have 19 seconds and you count out the number of breaths you have here, and if it say you count out 7 breaths, that will come out at a respiratory rate of 22.
Is that number, the respiratory rate of 22, significant to this case?
It's extremely significant.
Why is that?
Because one of the things in this case is the question of fentanyl. And if fentanyl is having an effect and is causing depression of the respiratory centers, the centers that control breathing, that's going to result in a decrease in the respiratory rate. And it's shown that with fentanyl you expect a 40% reduction in the respiratory rate. So with fentanyl his respiratory rate should be down at around 10. Instead of that, it's right in the middle of normal at 22.
So you didn't see a depressed rate of respiration or breathing rate in Mr. Floyd?
No, it's normal.
And so what does it tell you, bottom line, with respect to fentanyl as relates to Mr. Floyd?
Exactly. In terms of fentanyl, one of the major changes you see in fentanyl is a slowing of the respiratory rate. So, and again, we would be expecting a 40% reduction in the respiratory rate with fentanyl. The normal respiratory rate is 17 breaths per minute, plus or minus 5. So that would mean a normal respiratory rate of between 12 and 22. That's the normal range of respiratory rate. And so if it was with fentanyl, you'd be expecting a respiratory rate of 10. Instead of that, you count it here yourself. And you can see when you count it yourself that the respiratory rate is 22. So basically it tells you there isn't fentanyl on board. That is affecting his respiratory centers. It's not having an effect on his respiratory centers.
So Mr. Floyd's respiratory rate was normal at 22 just before he lost consciousness?
Correct.
So the jury may have heard some other information in the case about the fentanyl related to an elevated carbon dioxide level in Mr. Floyd's body in the emergency room. Was that significant to you?
Yes, that's very significant as well.
How so?
Because he's reported to have a PCO2, sorry, I take it back. He's reported to have a carbon dioxide level in the arterial blood in the emergency room of 89. That's a very high level of carbon dioxide. And so you have to take into account what are the factors that might have led to that. And there's particularly important factors in Mr. Floyd to explain why his carbon dioxide was found at 89 in the emergency room.
So doctor, would you first tell us what would normal have been for carbon dioxide levels?
The normal carbon dioxide level in you or me is 35 to 45 millimeters of mercury. That's the norm. You don't need the millimeters of mercury stuff, but they're the units that are given in the hospital chart.
So you said that there were significant factors in the case of Mr. Floyd. Would you help the jury understand what those were?
Yes, the important factors are that we know that he made his own last spontaneous effort to breathe at 20:25:16. After that, you can look at the videos and you see he makes no effort to breathe. He makes no breath. The last breath he took was at 20:25:16. Then we know after that he stayed on the street for another 3 minutes or so. Then he's placed into the ambulance, and we know that in the ambulance they attempted to put in an airway, an eye gel, and you can see that on the Officer Lane's body cam. You can see all of that happening, and then you can see the time at which they actually successfully inserted the airway and when they gave him the first breath. And that is a gap of 9 minutes and 50 seconds from when he last took a breath.
And why is that significant?
That's very significant because we can calculate what is the rate of increase in the carbon dioxide in somebody who doesn't breathe. If somebody doesn't take a breath, carbon dioxide increases at a predictable rate. And that rate is up to 4.9 millimeters of mercury per minute that it increases. And so he has not taken a breath for 9 minutes and 50 seconds. So you would expect, just on that basis, that his carbon dioxide level will go up by 49. So you add 49 to the normal values of 35 to 45, and then you add that and you're going to get a value of between 89 and above, and so it comes out virtually identical to the value that they found in the emergency room of 89.
So doctor, what's the punchline with respect to that? What does it tell us?
The significance of all of that is it's a second reason why you know fentanyl is not causing the depression of his respiration. What you're seeing is that the increase in his carbon dioxide that is found in the emergency room is solely explained by what you expect to happen in somebody who doesn't have any ventilation given to him for 9 minutes and 50 seconds. It's completely explained by that.
So when a person then is not breathing, then carbon dioxide would naturally continue to build up in the body.
Yes.
And that's what matches what was seen in the OR for Mr. Floyd.
Precisely.
Say his name!
Daunte Wright!
Say his name!
Daunte Wright!
They murdered my nephew! She killed my nephew! Every pistol, every taser, it has a safety on it. She saw that, she had to release that. I watched that video like everybody else watched that video. That woman held that gun out in front of her for a long damn time. A long damn time.
Yes, she did.
My nephew was 20 years old.
Tell him
20 years old. I don't care what nobody got to say about him. He was loved.
Yes,
he was ours. He came from us. My brother and my sister's hurt. Like I said, this is no broken home. This is no broken home. This is 23 years of love. 23. My nephew was 20. Did y'all not see my little great nephew? Did y'all not see that beautiful baby? He is fatherless. Not over a mistake, over murder. That's murder.
Murder.
Say his name.
Daunte Wright.
Say his name.
Daunte Wright.
I wear this shirt. And the craziest thing is to find out today that my family has connections to this man, to this family. His girlfriend was a teacher for my nephew.
My Lord.
My nephew was a lovable young man. His smile. Oh, Lord, the most beautiful smile. Y'all took that. before. Never. To hear my brother and to see my sister's pain. Come on. Hold her accountable. Hold her higher than accountable. You train people on this stuff. You train people on this stuff. 26 years. 26 years.
You good? Say whatever you want to say.
Y'all took him. They need to pay. She needs to pay.
Can you tell us what that means for her to have resigned after seeing that video, what it means to the family, and if we could hear from the family?
Okay. Now Isha is going to respond.
Great. Great.
What else do you want to see?
Well, I hope that since she went ahead and she resigned again, that they hold her at the highest, because she was the law. She was the law, right? Protect and serve. Put her in jail. Like they would do any one of us. They will put us under that jail cell. It wouldn't be no accident. It'd be murder.
You're making this a personal thing, and it isn't.
It's not a personal thing.
No, you are. That is exactly what you're doing.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want you to answer my question. The American people want Dr. Fauci to answer the question.
But
what does it have to be?
Expire, sir. If you need to respect the chair and shut your mouth.
When do we get to the point? What measure, what standard, what objective outcome do we have to reach before Americans get their liberty and freedoms back?
You know, you're indicating liberty and freedom. I look at it as a public health measure to prevent people from dying and going to the hospital.
You don't think Americans' liberties have been threatened the last year, Dr. Fauci? They've been assaulted. Their liberties have.
I don't look at this as a liberty thing, Congressman Jordan.
Well, that's
I look
obvious.
At this as a public health thing.
But
I disagree with you on that.
You think the Constitution is suspended during a virus, during a pandemic? It's certainly not.
This will end, for sure, when we get the level of infection very low. It is now at such a high level, there's a threat again of major surges.
Dr. Fauci, over the last year, Americans' First Amendment rights have been completely attacked. Your right to go to church, your right to assemble, your right to petition your government, freedom of the press, freedom of speech have all been assaulted. I mean, for a year now. So I just want to know, when do Americans get their First Amendment liberties back?
You know, I don't think anything was censured because they felt they couldn't disagree with me. I think you're making this a personal thing, and it isn't.
It's not a personal thing.
No, you are. That is exactly what you're doing.
No, your recommendations carry a lot of weight, Dr. Fauci. We just had the chair of the Financial Services Committee said she loves you and you're the greatest thing in the world.
My recommendations are consistent.
Will the gentleman yield?
No, it's my
now,
time.
could I answer the question, please? My recommendations are not a personal recommendation. It's based on the CDC guidance, which is
and I'm asking the question,
underscored.
what measures have to be attained before Americans get their First Amendment liberties back?
I just told you that.
No, you haven't given anything specific. You said, we hope when this... Tell me specifically.
Right now, we have about 60,000 infections a day, which is a very large risk for a surge. We're not talking about liberties. We're talking about a pandemic that has killed 560,000 Americans.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want you to answer my question. The American people want Dr. Fauci to answer the question. What does it have to be?
Expire, sir. If you need to respect the chair and shut your mouth.
Don't worry about this. We're going to handle this. And I think Mr. Jordan knows me very well. And he knows full well that we're going to handle this. Your time has expired.
I didn't run from you. I had to ask me. Bro, I'm not him. Bro, I'm not him. Bro,
why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
I'm not him.
This dude, probably. So if you help here, a few minutes here.
Turn around for me.
What?
Turn around.
What?
Turn around.
Why?
Turn around because I told you to. Turn around.
What are you doing, bro? I live here.
All right, we got a call. We got a. Okay, man. I don't know who I'm looking for yet. Come on, step. Turn around, man. What is your problem, dude? Turn around, dude.
You don't have no reason to do this to me.
What are you doing, man? What are you doing? What is your problem? Get up against the wall.
Look what you're doing to me.
Jeez.
Hey, Michelle!
Michelle! Dude, what are you doing?
Michelle!
Stop.
Hey, yo, Michelle!
Jeez.
Yo, you're looking for the people upstairs, bro.
I don't know. Relax.
Me, dog. You can ask me.
I'm
yo,
not.
You got your hands on me for no reason, bro. Hey, violated, bro. I have nothing else to say. I just know that these are the situations that people that look like me die in.